I'm Chris Evans, Extension Forester here with the University of Illinois, and we're at the Dixon Springs Agricultural Center now. What I wanted to talk about was forest management and the need for forest management. In southern Illinois and really all across the state, the majority of our forest in the uplands, in the higher ones, not along the creeks, are compromised a lot of oak hickory. And so even here, if you see behind me, a lot of the big mature trees are oaks. We value those oaks because they're good for wildlife. They're kind of a linchpin of a lot of our ecosystems in terms of all the species that are there. They're good timber value. So we want to have oaks. One of the challenges we're seeing in Illinois are these oaks to regenerate and make new seedlings, young oak trees, really need a lot of light in the understory. And we're not seeing as much light in our forests nowadays because other species are moving in, like sugar maples and hackberries, and they are coming into the forest and really restricting the light for our oaks. And so we see this situation right here all across Illinois, where we have a lot of mature big oak trees in our forest and really no young oak trees. If you walk through the forest right here, you're not going to be able to find hardly any young oak trees that would become the next generation of overstory trees, our new oak trees, once these other oak trees die. So we're looking at management and ways to promote those new oak seedlings, and largely that comes with getting more light back to the understory, getting light in here. And so we've set up a demonstration forest here at Dixon Springs to show people kind of what forest management looks like. We're sitting now in the control plot where we haven't done any management because we wanted to show people the situation that we started with before management, where we really have a very dark forest. There's not a lot of light reaching the understory here. And we have a mid-story, so kind of anywhere from 2 inches in diameter up to 10 or 12 inches in diameter. A mid-story of all of these real shade-tolerant species that are keeping the oaks from being able to regenerate. Again, here's a sugar maple, there's some elm back there, some hackberry back there as well. And those species are some of the ones that we target with this management. We do things like thinning, where we cut these and remove them out of here. We do things like the addition of prescribed fire, which these species are a little more sensitive to fire, so they're more likely to be top killed. And that just promotes our oaks, which really do well in fire. So we're going to look at the other plots here at the demonstration forest as well to kind of show you what we've been doing and kind of how it looks differently with this forest management than in a forest that doesn't have any management at all. So this is our thin only part of this demonstration forest. We just looked at the control where nothing had happened. In this area here, we did what's called a timber stand improvement or a mid-story cut. So we came in and removed all of the less desirable tree species, the maple, the hackberry, the elm, the ash, that were about 14 inches in diameter and less. And the idea there is we wanted to remove that mid-story to let more light into the understory. And you can see just by looking out here, it's a lot more sunny, it's a lot more light, and there's a lot less of that kind of mid-canopy stuff really occupying that. I like this. I like that we've got a lot more light, but you can also see there's a lot of woody plants coming in and not all of them are oak. That's one of the challenges of doing just a thinning, where all you do is thin and then let the forest kind of regrow. You're going to get oaks for sure, but you're going to get a lot of these other species coming back that compete well with oaks. So it may not necessarily get you to where you want to be, which is building up that regeneration of oaks. But it's a great demonstration to show that if you want to get young trees regenerating, get woody plants, even get understory plants in here, a thinning can really bring a lot of light into the understory and do a lot of things. So this is our thin and burn plot. You can already see there's quite a bit of difference between this plot and the thin only that we looked at a minute ago. We still have removed all of that mid-story, less desirable species out of there, so we're getting a lot of light to the understory. But what you don't see is that flush of woody growth like we saw on the last one. That's because we've run a fire through here. We've actually run 2 fires through here in the last 5 years, most recently just this spring. So the idea that we're using that fire for is we're getting this flush of woody growth, but it's everything. It's oaks and hickories and things that we want to get, plus it's maples and ash and everything else that, while they're native, we want to get them to be a little less in here because we're really trying to get that oak component added here. By adding a fire through here, it's going to top kill a lot of these species and keep the woody growth down. And that lets our oaks, which are more fire tolerant, can handle that fire a little better, establish over time. And so we're trying to burn every about 3 years in here, and we're keeping a lot of that woody growth in check. We're letting the understory plants come in, we're developing that diverse understory layer, and we're hopefully getting some good oak regeneration started in here. After 3 or 4 burns, then we're gonna back that off and only burn maybe every 5 to 10 years. And that's gonna let those oaks, which have been slowly developing in that understory, give them a break where they can really shoot up and start building that next layer that we want for here. It's that combination of thinning and fire we're finding is the most effective at really getting our objectives of getting new oak on the landscape. That's what we're demonstrating here. We're seeing it. You're seeing it right now, kind of in that mid phase where we've cut the trees, we've got light in, and we've started fire, and so the oaks are just starting to develop. Hopefully, if you come back or we do another video in 5 or 6 years, you're going to see a lot of young oak seedlings moving up in here. This is our 4th and final unit in this demonstration forest. We already looked at control where we did nothing, thin and burn. So this is the burn only. So we only have applied burning in here. We did not thin those mid-story maples or other trees. And what you're seeing here is that this forest is kind of too far grown in terms of that developing that mid-story that we didn't want, really, for fire to be effective. We've had 2 fires in here. The trees are kind of too big already for fire to really take them out. So what we're finding is there's been some benefits to the fire, but by and large, it's not enough really to get enough light to this understory. So fire alone has not been an effective treatment in this forest right here. Even though there's some benefits, we're not gonna get our oaks here. It's not gonna get enough sun. And you can really see that just by looking here. There is so much shade in here, and there's not enough intensity to that fire that we're not seeing the tree death that we want out of these young trees.